Hey guys, retrogrades in September of 2023. Jupiter, the greater benefic, the one who brings us bounty, prosperity, wealth, and goodness, and luck, is about to move forward in Taurus. And this will happen on December 31st or 30th, depending on where you live in the world. And he'll do this at 5 degrees of Taurus. We're going to talk about what that might mean for you based on your rising sign, sun and moon, because as he moves direct at the end of the month of December, he will continue to race through the sign of Taurus all the way until the 26th of May. And then he moves into Gemini. So we want to talk about how you can capture that last hurrah of Jupiter's story through Taurus, which he began last year. And he began that last year when he was going through Taurus in the middle of May. I think it was around May the 18th or 16th. And so, this is, the next part of the story. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. I am Lori Lothian, a Western tropical zodiac astrologer, whole sign houses, and I love the fixed stars and minor asteroids. I like to use astrology to help you time your best life by using the tools of astrology as a navigational device. So let's get going. If there's any chance you're catching this video, by the way, before the end of January, check my description box under the More button, and you might want to get my 2024 all sign video recordings. I did 90 minutes each for each sign, and you can get the bundle for only $59. The price goes up in February to $77. And that's the last time you'll see that really great discount. It's basically a PDF with links to all the videos that you want to check for your sun, moon, and rising and share with friends and family. And it's a fundraiser every year to help buy microphones and help support the channel by also, things like hiring staff and all of that, which I think I need to do. So first of all, I'm recording this on Tuesday, the 26th. Happy Merry Boxing Day, everybody. And if you're new to my channel, give me a try. Hit that like button and subscribe. Jupiter is an interesting guy. Wherever he goes, things get larger. He expands things, they get bigger. And I've noticed that when he's retrograde, it's not a bad thing. It's not like he goes backwards like he has been since September 5th, and everything falls apart. But there's a qualitative difference in how he opens up doors. And they're more like, to me, the inner door. Like I get these more deeper dives inside of me relative to my Taurus houses and Aquarius rising, which is about my family of origin, my home and homeland, things I'm doing in and from the home, property and land. And when he goes retrograde, some of these stories of Jupiter, which can be outward, like, yay, I won the lottery. Yay, I found the love of my life. Yay, I got my dream job. Yay, I'm lucky. Yay, I'm happy. Yay, I'm grateful. Some of those stories become more introspective, and we find, I guess, the inner version of that. So we don't necessarily think it's a bad time when he's retrograde, but I've noticed it's also like when you pull back the bow and you're like, or like kinetic motion. Remember those wind up toys when we were kids, or the race cars, you would kind of back them up, the little Hot Wheels. I was born in the 60s, but these kinds of toys with the kinetic wind up motion. It's something about Jupiter retrograde that always feels to me like he's going back to wind up something, to something that can spring forward in a very luscious way when we get into the direct motion time. And he is retrograde every year, someplace in the sky. And for instance, it'll be October the 9th to sometime in February of 25 that he will retrograde again, but in the sign of Gemini. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's discuss this idea of the cyclical nature of Jupiter in general before we talk about your sign and this, what to do with this direct motion shift of gears, starting on the end of December, but going into the third week of May, right? So it's a general vibe. Number one, let's talk about the last time Jupiter was in Taurus. When was that for you? Why would you want to know? You can go, well, what happened in my life then? Because it is dependent on the whole sign house of your natal chart. One sign, one house. Trust me on this one. And so if you're like, me in Aquarius rising, that makes the fourth house Taurus, and that's where the changes are happening as Jupiter goes forward. So you'll be doing the all signs, you'll see what I mean, but I want you to go back, take notes, please get a pen to these dates because you can compare how it went back then. So it would be back in June of 1999 to July of 2000. Go back to June of 99 to July of 2000. That was Jupiter's journey through the sign of Taurus. Then go back to June of 2011 to June of 2012. And again, Jupiter's going through the sign of Taurus. And finally, May 2023 which we just had, right? I think it was on May 18th or 16th to May 25th, 2024. Take those times and see, if you're old enough, what kinds of bounteous changes happen in your life to make a comparison and see if you might expect some of the same things to happen. This is also very exciting because Jupiter's going this time to bump into Uranus on April the 21st. 2021 at 21 degrees of Taurus. This Uranus-Jupiter conjunction happens every 14 years, but hasn't been seen in the sign of Taurus since 1941. Now, it's such an important event for each of us. It resets a 14-year cycle in our lives. It's going to unfold over 14 years because the last time the conjunction happened of Jupiter-Uranus, it was 2011. It was in the sign of Pisces. Before that, it was, no, sorry. Did I get that right? Brain come back. Oh, yeah. And then in 1997, and we go back a sign, it was in the sign of, oh, I know all of this. Oh, Aquarius, my rising sign. And before that, 14 years earlier in Sagittarius. So these conjunctions of Jupiter and Uranus are synodic, or they repeat from our vantage point on Earth. And they give you a new delineation of an area of goodness, excitement, and change in your life. And so if you want to watch that video I did on that, it's pinned now to the top of my channel. It's one of the big transits of 2024, big transit playlist, Jupiter, Uranus conjunction, all signs. We're not going to cover that today because I've already covered it and it's not going to repeat the wheel. But one of the other lovely things I just love about this movement of Jupiter through the sign of Taurus is the Sabian symbol at 5 degrees of Taurus, which rounds up to 6 for the Sabian, upon which he is launching his forward momentum. And I also really, really like the star that he's sitting on as he launches forward. And finally, I'm really excited and looking forward to around May 23rd, 24th, when Jupiter conjoins with Venus in her home kingdom of Taurus at 29 degrees, while forming a beautiful sextile to Neptune, who's going to be at 29 degrees of Pisces. So I might touch base with all signs about that yummy part of the sky coming up. Of course, when you sign up for my channel, when we get to do that later on, I'll have a lot more details, stars, Sabians, and asteroids. But for now, I just want you to get the idea that as he moves forward, I mean, honestly, he conjuncts Uranus April 21st. He conjuncts the Sun in Taurus May the 18th. He conjuncts Venus on May the 23rd, and he sextiles Neptune on May the 23rd, right? Because it's and these are the good things he's doing. So these are a few of my favorite things. I mean, he's doing good things. He's doing positive things in the sky. Very lucky, very auspicious, very wonderful energy that he's going to unleash for the world. And we need a lot of that lately because the world is looking pretty rough. So yeah, let's get going and talk about the Sabian symbol. It's a bridge over a gorge, or a bridge over a narrow gorge. And that's 5 Sabian rounds up to 6 degrees. That's how you do a Sabian, guys. You round it up. So I kind of like that. I like that a lot. It feels to me something like what in our lives needs to be bridged. You know, where has something at a Taurus 5/6 been a gap that needs to be crossed or filled in some way? The Sabian Mysteries website will say building bridges to end separation. All right. So there's something about that, poise, calm, and reflection. Now, in a time of division, such as in times of war, bridging something would look to me like a potential for peace negotiations or solutions to division. So let's just play with that idea that this high, narrow gorge bridge building could be a very positive thing for the world when he goes direct at this 5 degrees of /6 Sabian symbol Taurus. And also there's a couple of things hanging out there, and let me just grab my back end notes that I have dredged up for you guys. So yes, fixed star Caph is there, and CAPH is the star. And I just want to double check my back end to make sure that I'm going to give you the right delineation. It's not a star that I use a lot. And so I'm going to read it to you. But when I talk about stars, I'm just saying, imagine that there's a celestial body called a star, right? We see them in the sky at night, not a planet, that is aligning or shining with and through another a planet in our solar system. From our vantage point on Earth, it's like you could say right behind Jupiter is the star, right? With your telescope. That's the kind of idea I mean. So the star is called Caph, And my software says, it's a star of Cassiopeia, the enthroned queen, powerful feminine energy. It's stable, strong, enduring, yearning for the good to be good and do good, yearning for the good to be good and do good. I mean, come on, Jupiter is the good, right? The guru, the dispeller of darkness, the wise one, the truth teller, the one who brings bounty, goodness, wealth, the one who in Indian astrology is the planetary signifier for children. Now, of course, we've seen a lot of loss of life with children in the world in the fall of 2023, and hopefully this is going to be something to do with a cessation of those horror stories, or turning around in some situation where children are being harmed. Care for others in trouble, understanding and reassuring touch. So you see those vibes of Caph, C-A-P-H, are beautiful. Cassiopeia, the enthroned queens, as the star that this is about. I know feminine energy is needed in this world. Feminine energy, I believe, would be very positive for a more peaceful world. So I'm going to show you the sky. We're going to do your sign. I want you to listen for your sun, moon, and rising. I'm going to talk about the general theme that's moving forward for you in a positive way over the next 4 months, 5 months from December 30th. And I'm going to mention maybe a bit about that Jupiter-Venus conjunction that's coming up around May 23rd and how that might look for you as well, just as a kind of like forward excitement of something very lucky that's going to happen. Of course, I'll do a much longer video on that when the actual conjunction between Jupiter and Venus and Taurus sextiling Neptune occurs. All right. So right now we're just going to look at the sky together. So I'm going to open it up and share the screen. All right. Okay, guys, hang on a sec. And if you're new to my channel, give me a try. Give me a like and subscribe. And if you're in the live premiere and you're one of my regulars, thank you for being here. Boiling Frogs, Discerning Light, Ace of Spades, Serge LaBelle, Michael Thrash, Linda Calder, L.A. Taylor, Misbehaving, Psychic Readings with Rose, Bold and Beautiful Tarot, and more. I can't see the share, so I'm going to try it again. Somehow, when I shared the screen, it didn't show up. I don't have no idea why. So let's try again. Share. There it is. All right, let's roll. We're not going to be here for a long time, probably no longer than an hour. I have to record a financial astrology of 24 video with my guest Trudy Carroll, a financial astrologer, for my I'm putting a bunch of videos out every single day in the first week of January. All right, so they're all going to be interviews with guest astrologers. You might want to catch my Pluto and Aquarius video done with Adam Ellenbus from Light Astrology that's also doing really well right now on my channel. And that's a really wonderful deep dive into how that can look for you based on your sign. That's already out, so go check that out. It will be part of my 2024 Big Transit playlist. All right, so here we have the sky, and we're not cued for Aries yet, so I'll do that. But I want you to point to you a few things. Ignore the minor asteroids that are here. All right, just if people ask me what that is, that's Apophis. That's Apophis with Venus, and that's Fortuna with Pluto. They're going to be playing a much larger role later on in May, so they're just there from another thing I was looking at. So first of all, let's cue it to the Aries people, first of all. And I also want to point something out here that I think is really interesting. You know, something like the inception of something, like an election, right? So the beginning of something sets in motion the qualities of its unfoldment, right? Just like if you launch, you know, a airplane or like a paper airplane at a certain trajectory, you know, that moment of letting it go from your hand indicates its trajectory through the sky or through the air. And so things that start on a certain sky, which is what I'm talking about, is Jupiter turning around, well, stationing to go direct. Bake in something. Okay. So this is happening on December 30th, 31st, depending on where you live. And so right now he's showing us retrograde still. That's the color that you're seeing. So maybe I'll move us a day ahead just for making it simpler. So you can see it that way. All right. So now Jupiter's direct by the 31st. Now you'll see that he's stationing direct at 5 degrees, right here. But you might also note something interesting, and that is that he's going to be talking to Saturn in a very positive way, and that is called a sextile. And so he's already been sort of communing with Saturn, right? Because he was, you know, moving towards Saturn before he turned around. And it's not a perfect conversation, right? He was moving towards Saturn. He was going to have a conjunction, I mean, perfect sextile to Saturn, but then he only made it to 5 degrees. And so it's kind of a refrainment from a conversation with Saturn. But we will have a very important Saturn Jupiter conversation in August and December of 2024. And I do believe that this is a bit of a setup for that conversation, and that will be a square. So we'll be talking a lot more about that in videos next year. But anyway, there's still a sort of general feeling that they can feel each other, even if they're not having a precision conversation. And also you'll notice here, as he's getting ready to go direct, that he will be, meeting up with Uranus eventually. And that's what happens April the 21st, that once every 14-year cycle of Venus, Jupiter, Uranus, but last seen in Taurus in 1941. I did a video last year. Please go look at it. It's my Jupiter and Taurus predictions for the world, not just for your sign. And I talk about things like cryptocurrency and banking and commerce and, things to do with agriculture and land, and the ways Jupiter and Uranus, who's about invention, can change things. New agricultural techniques, growing food instead of, making food from, petroleum products, who knows, things that are really outside the box regarding food, agriculture, and currencies, including central bank digital currency, including cryptocurrency. Jupiter and Uranus will be a lot about those things as well. And so we're going to see more of that getting momentum in the next 5 months between January and the third week of May. And also, as Jupiter is in this part of the sky, moving forward, he is also sitting there in such a way that he flows to the sun, right? Because the sun is moving towards him. And so there is also a conversation where the sun has been talking to him, right? If you go back a few days, if you go back, that's almost a 10-degree sun. So if you go back 5 days before December 31st, the sun was in a flow to Jupiter, and in a trine that's called an earth trine. And there's something about that means that there was already a conversation that the sun was having with Jupiter. And now that conversation is going to somehow unfold as well. Oh, maybe as a signature element. So sun can be kings, sun can be world leaders, right? People in power. And Jupiter can be law. Jupiter can be legal matters. Jupiter can also represent kings as well. But, Jupiter would be more like the administrative kind of king, if you ask me, whereas the sun is literally like a king, the world leader. So there's a flow between these two planets, and it may be that world leaders and legal matters and just, I'd say like Jupiter would very much represent in this sextile to Saturn, the inability, this refrainment of the world, of the United Nations to have any effect at all on the conflict in the Middle East. Because the United Nations is an institutional body, like Saturn. It's been there for a long time. It's got a Jupiterian hope, faith, and optimism, idealism in the idea of, creating world peace and agreements and harmony, whether it happens or not. If you ever met a United Nations worker, my ex-husband worked there for years. They're very idealistic people if they're in the actual trenches of those kinds of bodies, not the political people in charge, but rather the actual workers. And so, aid workers, humanitarian workers. So Jupiter coming into Saturn and trying to have that conversation, but refraining and having to go away from Saturn, I think is just showing us that, nothing worked. Nothing United Nations tried to cobble together in the General Assembly or in the Security Council could make any dent or difference in the situation in the Middle East. It has not worked. So that's what that looks like to me. So, but don't forget later on, way down the pipeline, Jupiter will square Saturn in August and then from Gemini and then in December. And I think that's going to be some of those themes returning, but with a harder edge and maybe an effectual edge instead of an impotent, ineffectual edge. All right. So we're going to do the all signs. I just wanted to show you some of the sky stories that were playing out at the time this goes into direct motion. For our own chart, our own lives, we're not going to look at it that way. We're going to talk very briefly about the idea of the house that's coming back to life after being somewhat dormant since September. And we're also going to talk about maybe a little bit about that lucky May 23rd timeframe where we have the Jupiter conjunct Venus in her home kingdom of Taurus at 29 degrees of Taurus. It is anaretic. It is an intense, energy. It can be a very culminating grand finale, potent, decisive, like climbing to the top of a mountain moment for each of us in our lives at that 29 Taurus mark. And there are sorts of feelings at the 29th degree of having reached an old age as well. Like this is something I'm completing, I'm done. The 29th degree represents the elder ages of the 0 to 29 of each sign. And if you're born with planets there too, it can represent carrying over a lot of old karma, late degree planets in your chart to be resolved in this life. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get this annotation out of our way so we can do the all signs without a bunch of junk in our way, right? And don't forget, hit my like button. Sounds silly, but mostly subscribe. Please subscribe. Subs are down in December. I think it's just December. But I just want to let you guys know that I appreciate you. And if you haven't subscribed and you are one of my regular followers, please do. I do my best to bring you content that does help you flow better in your life and miss the pitfalls that are missable. Don't step in quicksand if it's there. I'll tell you if it's there, best I can. All right, let's get going. And we're not starting with Taurus because we're just not. We're starting with Aries. I always start with Aries so people aren't confused when they come in the live premiere. And here we go. Oh, that's not Aries. Nope. It's going to be hard to cue Aries here. So I'm going to have to go back a few minutes. Okay. Give me a sec, guys. Okay. The software is running away with me. I swear it is like a Mercury retrograde because it is. The software is not listening and I can't get it to do anything I want. It's almost like it's got its hands on its ears and it's saying, I'm not listening to you. Thank you, software, for being a pain in the ass. All right. So now I'm doing another manual turn back. All right, let's go. Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. I have an Aries sun and moon. I get you guys. Here we go. Sun can be father, father figure. Moon can be mother, mother figure. Sun can be career and purpose. Moon can be home, body, safety needs, emotions. But the rising sign is most accurate because it's all about you. So here we have in your sky a moving forward after retrograding since early September, Jupiter. Jupiter's going to jump forward, cross a bridge. The gorge of the bridge, crossing, the divide of a gorge is possible here. What part of your life have you felt divided in, perhaps, or unsure about in regards to things to do with your earnings and your money, your resources and your possessions, or your spending? And right now, Jupiter has been giving you some deep inner lessons about these themes, maybe even slowing down some of your earnings, maybe even just putting things on a drawback hold, pull back the bow. Since September 5th, but now he's moving on to December 30th forward, and you can expect some kind of spring-loaded action towards some greater success in your earnings story, in your possessions, in your money and cash flow. It's also good for moving forward in healthier dietary styles and paths, also moving forward to beautify your visage or get dental work and things like that done that turns out well, and you feel very grateful and bounteous about it. Now, also, as Jupiter goes forward in this part of the chart, remember he was in a conversation with the sun, and the sun is about your career in the career house. So there's a lot of career and earnings themes that Jupiter wants to drag forward to the third week of May, because at his inception, he's coming off of a very intense 3-degree conversation, as you can see, with the sun. So we have this sense of Jupiter is carrying solar energy forward. And in your case, it's about you standing firm and high and mighty at the top of a career path that's resourceful, that's sustainable, that's powerful. And so you're going to really think about those things as where things move forward, not just money in general, but money, career, purpose, and reputation. When we get to the spring, you're going to have that glorious little conjunction of Jupiter, Venus at 29 Taurus, sextiling Neptune, that can really sweeten up the pot for revenue generated from foreign lands and foreign shores, far off places, international bodies and international PayPal, Stripe counts, anything that gets you borderless income, because that's what is happening. It's here to here. Now, I would also think that with that energy, you could also have some kind of breakthrough in food styles that's going to really up-level you away from any kind of substance abuse or addictions, just because Neptune can represent that in your 11th house, and Jupiter is all about the food style, and Venus is pleasure in her home. So finding you pleasurable food or in things you eat that are better than an addiction can happen for you, and it would feel really positive to you, no doubt about it. And that's about all I think about that. It just has that lovely glow up for you. And anytime you put Jupiter and Venus together, it's like doubling down on luck upon luck. So you have some real money luck coming up on the 23rd. And while that can be like a planetary war, which I'm not going to go into, I've watched the Jupiter-Venus conjunctions look more lucky than not in real life over real time. So looking forward to a lucky break in your money story in the third week of May, around May 23rd. And again, pulling in 12th house matters as well. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. There is a Jupiter moving forward on December the 30th, 31st, depending on where you live. And he's going to come into a forward motion in a flow to the sun. He's also going to help you cross a river or a gorge where there's been a divide. So where have you maybe been divided within yourself? Because this is the house of you. And where you're divided in yourself about ninth house matters that may be needed to be resolved over the next 5 months until the third week of May. Don't forget, in the beginning of every one of these videos, I told you the other times Jupiter was in the sign of Taurus. Please go back and listen to those dates. Please do that so that you can compare notes, all right? Because this happened before. And I went back. I should probably, because I know people just jump ahead and you guys do not do your due diligence. And hang on, if I have time, I can repeat them, all right? June of 99 to July of 2000, June of 2011, June 2012, Jupiter was in Taurus. Now, you maybe have been divided by, because you're going forward where there's a gorge that, a bridge that's going to go over a deep gorge. So it's going to bridge the divide. Where have you maybe been divided and you're trying to create a bridge within yourself about things to do with your identity, your body, your health, your sense of self, and in this case, most especially as it relates to matters to do with your ninth house. This is your dharma. What is your meaning of your life? What are you really trying to figure out? Where are you divided about the deeper meaning of your life? Especially Taurus rising. And also maybe some divide around father figures, because the sun up there can represent that patriarchal nature of the sun in its joy in the house that can look like father figures. And you may have some divide about father figures in your life. And you have to come to grips with that in a positive, flowing earth trine way, honestly. Possibly it could bring you money from a father figure between January and significant wealth, significant money between January, like an inheritance, and end of May, or bequeathment or trust fund money or something like that, just because of Jupiter's rulership of your eighth house. I also think that maybe in this case, this energy of the ninth house can represent opportunities coming in the next 5 months to travel abroad or to take significant journeys to far off shores, and maybe also to succeed in a way that you didn't imagine possible in book publishing, in legal and court matters, as well as in academic colleges, campuses, and all of those things. Now, around the 23rd of May, Venus will join with Jupiter, and they're going to make a nice little lucky conjunction in a sextile to Neptune. That's going to glow you up physically, your vitality, your wonder. You're going to feel beautiful, persuasive, and you may have some kind of wish come true, Neptune in the 11th house, or some kind of dream come true energy here. Or you may have some kind of greater success in the larger world of groups of friends and belonging. But it feels very much like a very wish fulfillment thing for many Tauruses during that time of the third week of May 2024. Now I just need to take a sip of my tea. I won't slurp. I'm in a house with somebody who may have the big C vid, the C vid. And so I'm just trying to stay healthy with a bunch of good vitamins and zinc. So Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is going to be the energy of, since September the 5th, Jupiter going retrograde in Taurus. Don't forget, he's been there since last May. This is a subtle energy of your 12th house. You might want to go back, though, to June of 1999 to July of 2000, and then June of 2011 to June of 2012 for the last time that this Jupiter transit through Taurus was occurring. As Jupiter goes direct, however, he's going to kind of potentially give you some opportunities connected to foreign shores and foreign lands, especially revenue from those places. That's Jupiter in the 12th, but also spiritual awakening can happen, or gurus, guides, and teachers that guide you, or teachings or bodies of knowledge that can take you closer to your connection to the divine. There is definitely money available here for you, though, because Jupiter going direct here, crossing a bridge that's been divided, is connecting as well to Sabian symbol to the sun in the eighth house of chunky money. And therefore, you have a great opportunity to come into some financial abundance over the next 5.5 months. It may be inheritance money. It may be passive income. It may be a tax rebate. It could be ad revenue going crazy if you're like a YouTube person like me. But there's some kind of non-earned income. Like, it's not like your salary, your paycheck that wants to glow up big time for you in the 5 months after this direct motion, December the 30th. And also, the energy here, what is the divide that you have in your 12th house? Are you divided about an addiction or self-undoing? Are you divided about your spiritual belief? Are you divided about how you wish to generate revenue from foreign entities, foreign places, and foreign people? These are questions that will find answers as Jupiter goes direct. Now, at the month of 23rd of May, 24th, depending on where you live, Venus and Jupiter co-join at 29 degrees of Taurus, a grand culmination of some of the things you've been working on in that 12th house of moksha, spiritual liberation, enlightenment, addiction, self-undoing. Venus can really bring it home to a grand finale in a successful way. She is the kingdom lord of your 12th house. At the same time, it does apply to what you're doing in your career because Neptune in your 10th house is in a sextile to that lucky sky at the end of May. And so this can be also about, especially if you're doing anything in the world where you're sharing your spiritual beliefs and philosophies, you're trying to, or you're using YouTube or Instagram Reels or TikTok, any of the videography platforms, or you have any kind of high art or some kind of creative project you want to put into the world, especially writing, storytelling, videography, filmography, things, these kind of get a real whoosh, a real lucky glow up and a culminating beautiful way in the third week of May. And it could look like some serious revenue being generated in the third week of May through something you're doing very visibly in the top of your career space. All right, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. This is going to be a time where Jupiter, having been retrograde since September 5th, but in Taurus, right, since May of last year, he finally spring loads forward in your 11th house of good spirit, where he has his joy. So this is a place where he's naturally very strong. And so he's joyful. He's got his own kind of exaltation or dignity here. And as he's going through this part of your sky, he's also sort of saying something along the lines of, maybe I've got something going here that can give you greater bounty, give you greater hope and luck in your creation of your friendship circles, the people you want to hang with. And maybe September through to December 30th, you were like kind of really rethinking, are these my people? Is this my social group? Is this who I really want to belong to? Are these my people, right? And we do have this kind of sense when Jupiter is in the 11th house of being a fairy godfather or a genie in a bottle in a way. And you may find yourself coming into some unexpected financial windfall or greater money from your career than you have had for a long time. A kind of a real big glow up in the revenue, the perks, the reputation, successes. It kind of 11th house can represent the gains of the 10th. So you're going to have some greater career gains as well, moving forward through to the third week of May. There is a bridge to, the river, the gorge, the bridge, the Sabian symbol. Have you been divided? Do you need to bridge something with a friend? As they're falling out with an elder sibling? Do you need to make a bridge across a divide with those kinds of people? You might also find that this Jupiter going direct here can really help you influence large groups of people, maybe teach classes, maybe reach a larger number of people in the wider world. Because he's also in that flow to the sun in your 7th house, some of this expansion can draw in your audience, your marketplace, your public. You can also expand your relationship to a significant partner, like a marriage type, monogamous long-term relationship or business partnership. And those things seem to want to drag forward to the third week of May with this inception chart and kind of bring solar energy to the 7th. Now, the solar energy here can be solar people. So you may draw in leaderful, powerful people into your world as clients, as customers, as marketplace audience people, or if you are looking for a relationship, maybe that kind of person as well. Especially with Sun Pluto. Still Pluto's still there. So you may be attracting a whole new cadre of powerful people into your world, rich, wealthy, successful, leaderful folks over the next 5 months. The lucky part of the sky, as I mentioned, is the third week of May. That's going to look like Venus conjunct Jupiter, 29 degrees of Taurus sextile Neptune. Well, it could be a windfall because this is a windfall, pennies from heaven vibe here. But it could also be the third week of May, some opportunity to travel abroad, get accepted at your favorite university, get a book publishing contract through a friend or an ally, to find yourself in a very uplifted space around your spiritual faith and belief, and maybe in such a way that you join a new group that brings it home for you. But, Venus is very sociable in the 11th house and Jupiter is with her, and you may socialize with people on a trip abroad or even socialize a lot with foreigners, but it's going to bring some luck and greater gains to you financially in your careers, especially in the third week of May. International reach could be a word for it. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, we have this Jupiter moving forward here at the top of the sky. Please go back and listen to the beginning of my video where I talked about the other dates this happened every 12 years. I gave you specific dates, but it's a career glow up for you. It's really about, starting last May through to the third week of this May, everything expanding in your career, more luck, more success, more visibility, more expansion, more growth. And that Jupiter went retrograde in September and things may have slowed down or you may have paused. And now he's going to go forward and he's, going to say, we have to cross a river gorge here. We have to, bridge something that's divided. And maybe you've been divided about something in your career, not sure should you go this way or that way. And as he gets forward or gets ready to move forward, at the 5 degrees, you begin to think about bridging the gap of two things that haven't united yet, maybe uncertainty as well, squaring your identity. You may have had decisions you're uncertain about in your career, which way to go. And he's going to go forward, flowing to the sun in the house of health and work. This is going to be great for your work life, especially. You could find new work routines. You could find a new job. You could get an up level. You may just find yourself moving into a job situation that you absolutely love. The boss loves you. You feel empowered by being there. There's something that's going to harness a kind of sense of I am powered up in my livelihood and my career reputation, access the Artha houses of 6 and 10, possibly even bringing you greater financial resources as well. If you go forward to the May 23rd timeframe, you're going to see that Jupiter conjunct Venus is at the tail end, the 29th degree of your 10th house. Certainly that could definitely look like some kind of grand finale in your career. Not necessarily an ending, by the way, not at all, but some kind of peak experience, a culmination, like almost you're going to graduate from something to move into the 11th. So what kind of exciting developments are culminating, hitting an apex or a peak of a mountain for you around the third week of May, but flowing into your money house, into your longer term resources you share with partners, but also resources like commissions, stock investments, tax rebates, royalty income, passive income, ad income, I don't know, a lot of stuff, more chunky money coming through the third week of May through something that really is culminating in your career and reputation. All righty, Virgo, sun, moon, and especially rising. You see Jupiter going direct at 5 degrees of Taurus, right? On that divided bridge gorge Sabian symbol. So have you been divided as a Virgo or have two minds or something like that regarding things to do with higher education, campuses and colleges, foreign countries, foreign shores, foreigners, book publishing, court matters? Now, Jupiter here since last May is definitely really good for anything legal finally working out by the end of this May as well as success in academics and book publishing environments. Also success in applying for a university, the very basics of it, and foreign travel and foreigners benefiting you. And you might be becoming more spiritually aligned, taking up a meditation practice, figuring out the, deeper ways to connect to the divine. And so Jupiter will basically say here, I'm going to go direct here. I've been stalling out since September. Now you can go back in time, like I say, listen to the beginning of the video, to June of 99, to July of 2000, and June of 2011, to June of 2012 to compare notes. What was it like back then? Because this is here again. But here I'd say to you something along the lines of, excuse my rattling paper, this is Jupiter in a very spiritual place, and he's a guru, dispeller of darkness, wise one. You might meet a spiritual teacher, really, as a result of this in the next 5 months. You might also note that he's flowing to the sun in the house of pregnancy, children, love relationships, romance, sexuality, enjoyment, pleasure, inspiration, enthusiasm, entrepreneurships, and creative projects and artistic endeavors. So all of those said and done, and also some of your natural talents and skills that you're born with, your natural abilities. So having this energy really kind of dragging through to the third week of May, it can really up-level you. It can be for some of you the birth of a grandchild. For some of you, it could be that, okay? Or the conception of a grandchild in your family system. But it can also look like a potential real deeper connection to your soulful dharmic purpose. Like, why are you here on this planet? Where is your soul? Can you align with it? What is the meaning of your life? Where can you find solar joy that vitalizes you? Not temporary pleasure, deep solar joy and enjoyment of life, the spark of joy, the life force energy. You're looking to restore it, it looks to me. And it may have been a little unplugged since September, right? And now Jupiter's going to go back forward and give you a love up to your ascendant, good for your health, good for your sense of vitality, good for your sense of self, and you get that dragging along. Let's get the joie de vivre, the vitality, the deepest essence of joy alive again in your life. Oh, and the lucky Jupiter-Venus conjunction at 29 degrees of your ninth house, culminating, finishing strong, third week of May, graduating from university successfully, getting a foreign country passport, going to a foreign country that you've always wanted to go to, moving to a foreign country, succeeding at the legal court matter. Finding your perfect religion. There's a sextile to Neptune. This involves legal contracts or other people that you're really close to. And it's very, very lucky. And it's a luck house too, the ninth house. So we have luck upon luck here. So yeah, and it can involve final outcomes legally, but also some dreamy, foreign land decisions or travel with someone very important to you the third week of May, 2024. And it's going to be more than just a simple thing, right? Because it's Jupiter and Taurus with Venus, and that's only once every 12 years could this be possible. And even I'll be doing a deeper dive into that. Very rare, because Neptune has to be in Pisces. Hey, Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. The story is telling us that you have this going forward Jupiter, right, in Taurus, retrogrades to September 5th. And now spring loaded to go forward. Now, don't forget, he's been here since May, and he'll leave here the third week of May in your eighth house of chunky money, This is a house where you get money from inheritances. I'm sorry, it just is legacy wealth, money from your partner and their legacy wealth, money from spousal support, alimony, money from it's luck regarding banking, mortgages, and stock investments. Money from the sale of a property, money from, all these alt sources of money that you don't earn. So chunky money. Now, this is going to feel like a positive thing. It should have, but when Jupiter was retrograde September till now, I mean, maybe it didn't feel so positive, right? Maybe things were sort of on hold or uncertain here. You're trying to bridge a gap, a gorge, a river, some kind of bridge needs to happen here, a bridge loan, what do you need to bridge that has been in a place of uncertainty for you around that kind of money, perhaps? And, there's a sense of Jupiter, you have to go back in time, right? June of 1999 to July of 2000 and June of 2011 to June of 2012 to suss out how Jupiter and Taurus worked for you last time. It's different this time with Uranus there, lots of surprises, but still there's the same story. And as Jupiter is going to drag the sun energetically along, right? Coming off of a trine to the sun. The sun is in the fourth house of home, property, land, and real estate. Things to do with your private domestic life. Certainly due to legally, like property, buying a property, selling a property, renting a property, owning a property. In fact, you can see that Jupiter was trying to connect to Saturn in the house of rentals and tenancies, and he could not. He refrained from making that happen. So unfortunately, something quite didn't work out there. But as Jupiter is going to flow and is flowing to the sun and will carry that stamp forward, I kind of think you're going to have an earth trine around lots of legacy wealth potential from father figures, even grandfathers. things to do maybe with being able to buy or sell or rent property in a successful way. And finally, being able to uncover anything from your ancestral and familial line that is burdening you so you can be joyfully bounteous in all things chunky money. And of course, the eighth house has other meanings as well. The occult mysteries and masteries are possible here. Learning the tarot, learning astrology, going deeper in those areas and doing these things from and in your home, perhaps. Now, I would say that you might think about this lucky strike that's coming up of Venus and Jupiter at the tail end of your eighth house, a stock that pays off, a tax rebate, a chance to invest in something, some money coming, like a performance bonus or a commission or some chunk of money possibly showing up around the 23rd of May, and in a flow from the Neptune in the workhouse. So we're looking at a little bit of a work story. Work and money glow up for a lot of Libra people on the 23rd of May. And that's a really bright spot in the sky. And as I said, it's relatively rare because Neptune has to be in Pisces and, Jupiter has to be in Taurus. So we're looking at a less than common event. We'll be deep diving, if you subscribe to my channel, going into much more depth about how to use that. Or maybe do a webinar on that one. All right, Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. So here we have the energy of Jupiter in your seventh house of marriage. Now go back to June of 99 and July of 2000, June of 2011 to June of 2012. And here we are again, May of 2023 to May 25th of 2024. Jupiter is trying to get you engaged, to move in with someone, to get married, to meet your ideal partner, to up-level significant relationships. But if there's a relationship that's in the struggle and you have this Jupiter crossing the seventh house, especially direct over the next 5 months, those relationships can end. They will, because Jupiter brings blessed endings. He knows what's good for you. It's like Santa Claus or something saying, ho, ho, ho. So I think, it can go either way when Jupiter's here. It depends, on what prior condition he's entering into this house. Like it happened, my son and his girlfriend of, a decade got engaged during the ingress of Jupiter, officially engaged, to set a wedding date, during the ingress of Jupiter into the sign of Taurus last May. And indeed, the wedding is this July. Also, I think with Jupiter here, you could be finding that you're expanding your outreach, or you get greater luck and opportunity growth through your audience marketplace, like hitting it with the marketplace audience clients really well, if those people are part of your 10th house career stories. And I do like this energy also for bringing you more powerful people, particularly teachers or guides, into your life between now and the third week of May. Jupiter's dragging the sun along. Now, the sun is in your third house at the time of this forward motion. And by the way, there's a divide. Remember the Sabian symbol, the bridge, the divide, the gorge where the Jupiter sits? Are you divided in your relationship? Is your partner divided? Is there division between you? Is there a business partnership? You're trying to seal a deal. So Jupiter will try to bring that forward into success. But with the sun, as ruler of your 10th house in the third house, this can also suggest that some things to do with your career, especially if it's a creative career, and money, are going to move forward as well. I mean, Jupiter does rule your second house of money. Jupiter does rule your fifth house of creativity. Excuse me. And so you're going to get some forward movement here. And I hope I'm not coming down with the thing that's going on in this household, maybe. The sun here is suggesting that over the next 6 months, you could have some sort of forward motion momentum is in your third house, online world, social media platforms, websites, writing projects, travel and short distance travel, especially if that travel involves a significant other, or legal contracts firming up to do with things you're doing in a creative or online world way, especially writing. The sun can be a sibling as well, and some greater connections to a sibling over the next 5 months, and in a positive, fruitful, and resourceful way. The lucky break that we're all going to have, it's going to be the third week of May, around the 23rd. It's going to be the conjunction, as I mentioned, of Jupiter to Venus at 29 Taurus. Now, that's a culminating degree in a marriage and business partnership house. So if something is coming to a grand finale, or a grand completion, or a grand success, or an apex moment. And it's possible that you're going to find that be the sextile to Neptune involved, that maybe you're going to say to yourself that it's something like the culmination of a dream creative project and the outreach to the audience, finding a culminating moment regarding a legal contract, regarding an entrepreneurial or creative endeavor. a culminating moment that brings you a great deal of glow up in your relationship to your children, if you have them. And because this is where Neptune sits, right? The fifth house. Because Uranus is there, and we're going to have that shock and awe conjunction, new synodic cycle in April, and this is coming off the heels of it. It can look like a sudden burst of recognition with the public that could lead to the Venus story the third week of May. If you have a public, which can be a legal agreement or contract of some sort, a binding contract. And if you're in a longer term relationship, that can be coming to a pleasing, jointly held communal decision regarding children, having children, or your own children with that person. All right. So there's kind of a glowy vibe there, of positivity and luck. So I hope that's useful for you, Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. What happens here is that, and don't forget, Jupiter, like for the Pisces, is the Lord of your sign. So he goes direct. You go direct. Okay. Venus is in your sign at the time he goes direct, and that's awkward in conjunct, but a bit of a mutual reception because they're in each other's houses. And I kind of would just say, I didn't cover this for everybody, which is going to be too much to talk about today. I'm not feeling so great, but for you, it's like you are feeling around this December 31st, 30th turnaround, very in touch with your inner worth. You're like yourself, your inner beauty, and you're coming into a time of feeling more charismatic and charming and persuasive. And as you get to go into a direct motion, as he gets to go into direct motion in your work and health area, those areas of your sky are probably going to be improving. I'd say that if you felt stalled out since September in health matters, overcoming sicknesses, things to do with work situations that would slow down, this is going to now move forward between now and the third week of May. Now, also, Jupiter has been here since last May, right? And so this is last May of 23 to the 26th of May, 2024, lucky opportunities and breaks to do with work and health matters, pets, tenancies, rental agreements, even sometimes debts, to pay off debts. And so these things are still all playing out. Him going direct is spring loading it for forward visible outward proof of concept here. Okay. It's really a good time for health endeavors that are new and you want to try something fresh because Uranus makes something innovative outside the box for you, and you can improve your health in that matter. Certainly, I'd say as well, he's dragging the sun. And don't forget, this has happened before, right? Jupiter in your sixth house was June of 99 to July of 2000, and June of 2011 to June of 2012. But we didn't have Uranus there, but you can compare notes. And the flow here, he's dragging the sun energetically into the next 5 months because they are in a communion at the time of his station direct. And have you been trying to bridge a divide between a work situation, a pet situation, a workspace situation, a rental situation? Is there some kind of division that you haven't been able to bridge, and now you're bridging it, Sabian symbol, but you're dragging the sun along? And the sun is in the earnings and money house and possessions and resources. And technically, this is looking very much about money and work stories being given a direct motion energy, and the sun in your second house giving you more money, power, Pluto, in a way that's deeply purposeful. It really aligns with the soul of you. It's more vitalizing as well. And so there could be a financial increase over the next 5 months based on this turnaround of Jupiter through work, mostly through work stories. Now, also, maybe renting a property as well. Although I think there's been some attempt for property rentals, right? Because of the refrainment of Jupiter to Saturn. But now things could possibly be going forward as Jupiter goes forward as well. Now, also, the other thing I would mention is you would look at that lucky break of the 29-degree Jupiter-Venus conjunction over here in your sixth house, and maybe think it might be something about a culminating moment in a flow to your home regarding pets, rental agreements, tenancies, creating your dream home office, getting a job that you can work from home, some kind of stabilization of your home, Saturn, Neptune environment connected to success in your work environment. Okay. And that is a lucky energy the third week of May. Absolutely, feels good. Anything else I want to say about that? The culmination of Jupiter Venus in the sixth house of domestic animals might be just something as simple. The third week of May, you finally get some positive turnaround in your pet's health, or you finally get your dream pet ordered, or the vet, or you find that your dream pet, old dream pet, in a rescue place, and you're madly in love with it. So we'll see what happens. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, rising, especially rising. Well, we have Jupiter back. Let's go back in history again. Fifth house Jupiter. That happened in June of 99 to July of 2000. Then it happened in July of 2000, June of 2011 to June of 2012. Now it's back again. It started last May. It finishes up May 25th or 6th of 2024. One more round every 12 years. So Jupiter coming through this part of your sky is going to bring some kind of luck. It can bring money luck, speculation, stock investments, playing the lottery, going to the casino, betting on the horses. It can do that. Do not listen to me and take my financial advice or medical advice. I'm just saying it can bring that kind of luck. It can also bring a lot of joy to your life and fun and happiness and a new romantic partner, or more romance and more fun with your romance, and goodness and luck for and with your children, and fertility and pregnancy for those of you wanting to conceive a child, whether you're the male or the female. Is still a conception transit, fertility transit. And sometimes grandchildren can come through this transit too. So that's all happening, right? That's all in gear. My ex-husband is a Capricorn sun, and he indeed had a grandchild born to him during one of the earlier transits, June of 2011 to 2012, if I remember correctly. So long story short, this is definitely something to do with all that fertility that's here. Now, Jupiter is going direct. He's been retrograde. You got to bridge a divide. Are you divided in your love relationship? Are you divided with matter with a child? Do you and a child have a division? Are you falling out with one of your children? Are you divided about your creative projects, your entrepreneurial stuff? That's fifth house matters. And then boom, as Jupiter goes direct, December the 30th, 31st, add, to the end of May, basically, he's going to drag solar energy along with him. Energetically, the sun is going to ask you, how do you vitalize yourself? How do you stay on purpose? How do you find your purpose? How do you find the deep soulful reason to be you? How do you align your soul with your identity in a powerful way? And of course, Pluto's been teaching you about true authentic power since 2008. Not an easy lesson. And here we go. Energetically bringing your soul into the story, bringing your vitality and the soul spark of your true essence into the next 5 months as it applies to entrepreneurial, creative projects, children, sex, romance, and bridging gaps or divides that may have been here. Jupiter goes to that conjunction to Venus at the 29th degree of Taurus, sextiling Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces in the third week of May. That's going to look like some kind of glow up around trips, travel opportunities, writing projects, creative projects, business consulting, or entrepreneurial projects involving travel, lucky breaks regarding your children being lucky, fertility lucky breaks, especially if you get pregnant on a trip. Things to do with siblings going in a positive way for you as well. Things to do with your neighbors and neighborhood actually getting a really lucky up level on the third week of May as well. There may be, in the experience of this, a very powerful essence of deeper connection with a significant marriage type partner, because the sun is looking at that partner and Jupiter exalts it. So there can be a May third week of May decision to up level an existing love relationship, or to take it to another level in some fundamental and meaningful way. All right, Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. I am one of you. Here we have this energy of Jupiter moving forward at last in our natal fourth house of home, property, land, and real estate. He's been here since last May. For me, this looked like an ability to renew a temporary lease on a very wonderful contract from a beautiful lady who lives in Switzerland. And it's been a real blessing for me because it's hard to find a property in Vancouver, and I got a really great deal, and I'm forming a lovely relationship with her. So that's the kind of thing that can happen, right? Fourth house of home, real estate, property. And that happened because of Jupiter's entrance in May last year into the fourth house. So look for some forward momentum. Have things felt stalled in your fourth house? Now, fourth house can be what you do in and from your home, like I do my YouTube channel. It can be things that you want to expand in your home. It wants to be bounteous and wealthy in your home. It can bring some legacy wealth and inheritance money sometimes as well when Jupiter's here. As Jupiter moves direct into the third week of May, this is going to move forward. You may have some opportunities for that kind of money to show up in your life. You could also find yourself expanding your home, getting a bigger home, adding to your home, maybe. Those kinds of things can fuse into the story, especially with that Uranus conjunction in April. Now, the other thing I'd mention here for sure is he's dragging the sun along, and the sun is in the house of far off foreign shores. Sometimes it's just about revenue we generate from those places. And today, without the spice trade and ships and traders and all of that, we actually just use the internet and PayPal, Stripe, and credit card processors. So international revenue can increase over the next 5 months as Jupiter drags the sun along, but the sun can also be an opportunity for travel to another country or even a relocation being formed during this next 5 months to another country. Also, given that Jupiter is in a place with Uranus, maybe surprising you at that, not expected. If you need to undo a self-undoing because you have an addiction or a substance abuse problem or a dependency problem on something, this can definitely be about a very vitalizing, soulful movement away from that problem. Okay, that's just the vibe of that dragging that 12th house energy forward. And it's certainly like Sun is in a moksha spiritual liberation house. Jupiter is in a moksha spiritual liberation house. So again, some spiritual awakening, some spiritual enlivenment in the 5 months that follows this particular Jupiter station direct. Where have you been divided in your home? I'm divided because I'm living half my time in the United States because my partner's American and I'm Canadian. So 6 months there, 6 months here, whatever. So I'm definitely divided, right? I'm in Georgia now going on 3 months. So, a divided home, the bridge across the divide. There's a possibility for people like me in long distance relationships with foreigners that the divide can be bridged over the next 5 months with a solution that doesn't involve so much separation of something and someone in your home. So if you've been divided about buying a home, selling a home, property, land, real estate matters, you will no longer be so divided. You'll bridge that divide in some way. And the lucky break of 29 degrees, Venus Jupiter conjunction in a flow to Neptune, it's a money break. It's money and home stories. It's basically resources, possessions, money and earnings, homeland, property and real estate luck in the third week of May 2023. It's quite simple. And this luck, right, is very rare. So I'll be doing a deep dive video into that because it's just too good not to. Because we have to have, Neptune in Pisces and Jupiter and Taurus sextiling at the same time. And that's a synodic cycle. And I haven't researched it yet. But if you subscribe to my channel, and did you hit the like button at all? I forgot to remind you guys if you're in the premiere watching this later to keep hitting that like button. Smash that like button. Thank you. All right, so Pisces, this is Jupiter, the lord of your sign, not Neptune. Ancient astrology, it's Jupiter. And Jupiter says, I am finally going forward in your Taurus real estate, which is your third house of trips, travel, siblings, writing projects, online world, social media projects, teaching and learning, skills-based teaching and learning. Now, Jupiter here was already here, right? Last May, like mid-May last year. And he's been here before, like June of 1999 to July of 2000, and June of 2011 to June of 2012. So these times you could have expanded your reach with your website, social media, but it can be expansion, a bounty around neighbors, neighborhood, and siblings, and extended family stories as well. And you may have a sibling bringing you some bounty or expanding their bounty or bounty expansion through siblings as well. Now, Jupiter likes to travel and he can travel in the third house. It's shorter distance travel, but it can indicate more travel coming for you during the window of this December 31st, 30th, add, to the third week of May, more travel for sure. But you could also ideally sign up for a course. And if you've been feeling stalled by taking a course, learning something or teaching something, and you weren't sure where to go next, September through December, Jupiter retrograded here. You might have heard from siblings from the past, neighbors and friends from the past. You may have heard from childhood friends from the past, but you may have gone back and restudied something you learned before. You may have reconfigured your website or social media stories, all of that. You may have redone your website. But hey, he's going forward, and now those things go forward. And you have to bridge a gap. Are you divided from a sibling? Are you divided from a neighbor? Are you having a neighborly divide? What's the bridge that needs to be healing a divide here? Because you will be healing the divide. And I think with the energy of dragging the sun from the 11th along, favors from friends in high places, allies and benefactors, the expression of greater career gains in your life, reputation and career successes more uplifted, the actualization of some longer dreams, goals, and plans, and maybe support from a solar Plutonian figure, like a very wealthy or powerful person. Now, there's big sister, big brother energy in the 11th house. So someone who acts like a big sister or brother, or literally a big sister brother, can be very much dragged into the story over the next 5 months and be a part of why you are traveling, why you are learning, why you are succeeding now in your online world, why you are working some kind of division out. Especially like this can look two sibling houses, like elder and younger, 3 and 11. For some of you, this looks like a bridging of divide with a sibling story. I know that my Pisces soulmate, James, will laugh at that because I've been saying that forever. And he's got a divide with a sibling. Let me take another slurp of my water. You wonder why I'm slurping so much water. It's because I'm trying not to come down with something. And then the lucky break at the end of it all is going to be the conjunction of Venus and Jupiter at 29 degrees at the third week of May. I can't wait to dive into that one. It's got exquisite stars and stuff involved. And it's going to be quite powerful and positive. But that's going to bring you some luck regarding neighborhood, neighbors, travel, siblings, short distance travel, skills-based learning, all the third house things. Lucky, turning point, culminating moment, top of a hill, apex of a pyramid, something finally being realized, but also flowing to Neptune in the house of you. This is where you have been since 2011, dissolving into a state of oneness with the universe, or confused and fogged out and unsure and having a lot of inertia. But nonetheless, there's some kind of Venusian glow up here. Third house looks over with Venus and Jupiter holding hands at Neptune in your first house. And it can look like some kind of beautiful feeling of unity and harmony and friendliness connected to the third house matters that I've mentioned. You're the one seeing through that lens of Neptune, unconditional love, oceanic consciousness, dreamy, visionary energies. And if you have had any troubles with neighbors, siblings, or travel, or your website, or your skills-based learning and teaching stories, this is definitely a lucky turnaround for you in the third week of May, 2023. And after all, by the way, the sun does rule your house of work, so there's likely a work opportunity coming off of this as well. All right, in the next 5 months, some kind of career work opportunity, but it might involve some travel, or it could involve a sibling, or it could involve online work in the online world. Thank you for listening, and thanks for being a part of this channel. If you haven't liked and subscribed yet, please do. It is important to the algorithm, and my algorithm needs you to hit that button and to subscribe so that I can keep putting out content. If I'm growing here, then I'm staying here. And if I'm not growing here, then I won't be staying here. So I really appreciate all of your support in YouTube land. Thanks again to my regulars. Don't forget, 2024 all signed videos or a la carte purchases are down below. It just helps the channel grow. It's a fundraiser every year to buy my equipment, hire some staff. And I thank you to all of you who bought the pre-sale order for $49 in October, November. And now we're moving into this last chance for $59 in the month of December, January. And then it's not going to be back at that price, I promise you. It'll be $77. All right, so thanks very much. Appreciating all of my regulars. Again, if I didn't shout you out already, Crystalline Alchemist, Ashley Sending Light, Flower Remedy. Righty. So many cool newbies have been coming in lately. I'm going to forget all of you. Boiling Frogs, Jupiter 8, Stephen the Jupiterian. Thanks so very much for being in my community, in my live premieres, and watching with me as we comment on the astrology and learn astrology more deeply together, actually. Thank you. I'll see you guys in the next video, which will be maybe Mercury going direct.